So the Frogan situation is worse than I thought. Frogan, along with the other two Twitch streamers who were on that racial tier list panel, they were all banned recently, in which a tier panel was created for who can say Habibi, who has the Habibi pass, who can say it. They had Arabs at the top, and they had people who like Sabra at the bottom. At the bottom, Ethan Klein was put, and at the top, Hasan was put, and I believe another Jew was put right next to Ethan Klein. I believe Sabra is a brand of hummus that is consumed by Israelis. I believe it's either an American or Israeli brand. And the really damning aspect of that entire situation was Frogan's choice of thumbnail, in which Ben Shapiro and Ethan Klein are at the bottom, and Hasan is at the top with the two other Arab streamers right below him. It was a racial tier list, basically. And Twitch had to scrub the entire thing once the fallout happened. But Frogan's situation is even weirder, because apparently she wanted to do a 9/11 baking stream but did not get enough donations. So let's see what she had to say about 9/11 and her little stream concerning 9/11.
6250 9/11 baking stream with Raf and Capri. If we get to this goal by 9/11, Capri, Raf, and I will make the Twin Towers out of a stacked cake, and we'll make an airplane, and we'll recreate 9/11.
You know, honestly, this wouldn't be that weird to me. Like, you know, I'm not sure if that's a hijab or whatever. I'm not sure about all the different variations of covers that Muslim women use. I don't want to like mischaracterize or like misname it, but I'm just going to say hijab for the sake of it. The hijab in this joke, not that big of a deal. Like, you know, if it wasn't Frogan, I wouldn't really think much of it. I would suspect it a little bit, but I'd be like, you know, a joke is a joke. It is what it is. But sometimes jokes can't be taken as just jokes when you take the context of who's making the joke into account. Frogan talking about making a 9/11 reenactment stream in which she's going to make, you know, towers made of cake and she's going to make the planes. This, honest to God, would be innocent if Frogan wasn't Frogan. If this wasn't the same person who wished PTSD on veterans, unless they apologize for the wars in the Middle East, which, mind you, the vast majority of servicemen have never been in combat in Iraq or Afghanistan ever in life. The vast majority have never seen combat. She wants all of them to apologize, or else you deserve PTSD. Or I don't know, she wants the Navy sailors to get PTSD, the Air Force people to get PTSD, Coast Guard to get PTSD. I don't know if she wants the National Guard to get PTSD. Like, I don't know what her PTSD, like, I don't know how she's gonna, like, distribute that. But she wished PTSD on any veteran who did not apologize for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Furthermore, she is the underling, the peon, the goon, the henchman of Hasan Piker. And Hasan Piker is the exact same guy who sat there and said America deserved 9/11.
Guy has the understanding of foreign policy of like a 12-year-old. What the f***? What the f*** is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave f***ing soldier, f***ed his eye hole with their Isn't that how he lost his eye? Because he got his eye hole? America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
Now, the moronic left-wing, you know, progressives will sit there and say, oh, well, don't you understand what America did to the Middle East? Not even realizing our involvement in the Middle East did not actually become negative until after 9/11. We protected the Kuwaitis from an Iraqi invasion. That was pretty much it. And we had troops in Saudi Arabia. I think we had like some involvement in like Iran that was like really, really hands off but behind the scenes. But in comparison to what would come after, it was light work. It wasn't worth 9/11, I can tell you that. It most certainly was not worth 9/11. Osama bin Laden even talks about, like, in his declaration of war on America, like, I hate the fact that you guys have religious freedom. I hate the fact that you guys allow gay people to do what they do. I hate the fact that you guys have gambling. I hate the fact that you guys, like, are literal degenerates. He made it abundantly clear our degeneracy was a part of his declaration of war. And then he was mad about American troops being in Saudi Arabia, even though the Saudis invited us there. It's just the ramblings of a lunatic. If Iraq and Afghanistan happened first and then Osama bin Laden did that, I'd be like, I hate this guy, but like, I could see why he crashed out. That's not what happened though. The dude was a total lunatic, and Hasan is a lunatic too. Given the context of the things Frogan has said, who she aligns herself with, one of the other streamers named Denims also supports Hamas.
I'm Jewish. My dad's been a Zionist his whole life. When October 7th happened, he said, I loved Hamas, and now he's against Israel. Let's go, Dad. Let's go.
So it's like, when you roll with this camp, you say the kind of things that you say, and then you make a joke about 9/11 in this way where you're going to recreate 9/11. It's not that much of a joke anymore. Like, if I made a racial joke about any group of people, you might think, Rashad, okay, like that's, funny, but like, keeping an eye on you, just making sure this doesn't become a habit or a pattern. If Nick Fuentes did it, regardless of how funny it probably would be, you're not going to completely take it as just a joke because it's Nick Fuentes. Given his history, he's probably not 100%. It's probably 50% joke, 50% like for real. And that's how I feel with Frogan. Like, this is a joke. But like, under no circumstance is this just a joke. She obviously very much supports the kind of stuff that she says. And it just like, it blows my mind that this kind of stuff like managed to become the culture at Twitch. What is going on at Twitch? How does this kind of stuff become normal at Twitch? Seriously, how does it become normal? How does this kind of culture even become cultivated at a $1 billion company in which grown folk with like college degrees are supposed to be working there? Like, how does it even happen? How does this even happen? So she sits there and she's talking about, reenacting 9/11 on stream. And it's like, the privilege of this is insane. Like, you live in the United States. You can pack your bags and move to like this idea. Sometimes I feel like these progressives are more racist than like white nationalists. There are Arab, Muslim developed countries you can move to where you can say this kind of stuff. Why are you here? You don't have to be here. See, the problem isn't wearing a hijab and making a 9/11 joke. The problem is I know what these people believe because I've seen other clips of them talking dead ass serious. I know this isn't just an innocent joke. If Frogan didn't have a weird history, I wouldn't even make a video about this because it would be unfair. Like, oh, you're going to pick on the hijab chick making a 9/11 joke. I know this chick's history though. So like, I can't just sit there and say like, oh, surely you love America. Hasan Piker is the most anti-American political commentator of note that I know of, that I can think of right now. His entire like crew of people are all anti-American. Some of them are supporters of terror organizations. Hasan supports terrorist organizations. He brought a terrorist on stream and then a year later denied that the kid was a terrorist, even though when he thought he was a terrorist, he was happy to bring him on and supported the terrorism. But I digress. Knowing what I know about Frogan, the people she rolls with, the kind of ideology she believes in, it's impossible for me to sit there and just say it's a joke. Twitch needs to figure out what their situation is. Seriously. Okay? The anti-Semitism, the terror supporting, like, bravo to Twitch for getting after Asmongold when he was like basically saying Islamophobic, Arab phobic stuff on his stream. Bravo. Like, I'm with you. Like, I'm with you there. The problem is you guys don't enforce your rules equally. When people engage in anti-Semitism, you act like you can't see it. When people support terrorism, you act like you can't see it. When people like sit there and like engage in insane activity, like literally engaging in hateful rhetoric toward veterans, you act like you can't see it. And this is the reason why Twitch is in the situation it's in right now. It's because they don't want to enforce their rules equally. They have a political narrative that they want to run with, and they're going to run with it forever. I don't know what's going on over there, but this is crazy. And I want people to continue highlighting this reality of people like Frogan and Hasan, because they utilize intersectionality to protect themselves. Oh, we're non-WASP, we're Arab, or we're Turkish, or we're culturally Muslim. I don't care. I don't care. Like, if you support terror organizations, that's on you. If you are anti-American, I don't care if you're white. Like, why would I go hard on WASP, white nationalist conservatives who support a theocratic ethno-state? Why would I go hard on them, but all of a sudden go soft on you because you're a minority? No. That's not that. No, nice try, but I don't really care what you wear. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your cultural background. I don't care what your ethnicity is. If you are an enemy of the United States, if you support enemies of the United States, if you spread lies and narratives trying to turn citizens of this country against itself, just like the conservatives do, I have a problem with you. If you're anti-Semitic, I have a problem with you. If you're Islamophobic, I have a problem with you. But the problem here is Twitch doesn't know how to be consistent. They're against Islamophobia, right there with you. They're against Arab phobia, if that's even a word, right there with you. But when it comes time to enforce the rules properly, they just can't do it. So, you know, I hope we continue to hunker down on people like Hasan and Frogan, because they're trying to use the fact that they're a non-white Anglo-Saxon and Protestant to hide the fact that they are anti-American. They do support terror organizations. Some of them are anti-Semitic. They're trying to use intersectionality to protect themselves from their vile, disgusting beliefs. Not gonna let that happen. You will be treated exactly as what you are. You will be treated as what you are. You are, in fact, anti-American, anti-Semitic terror supporter. That's what you are. You will be categorized as such. You're not going to sit there and use your minority status to protect yourself. You're not going to do that. Nice try. It's very important for Hasan to be characterized and portrayed as what he is. Do not allow him to use his, oh, well, I don't support homophobia or transphobia or racism unless terror organizations do it, then it's okay. No, make sure that people know he does not actually believe these things. He will make excuses for these things when people of his cultural background engage in those activities. He's not a real progressive, along with Frogan and the rest. These are people who don't actually believe anything they say. Imperialism is bad. Colonialism is bad until the Chinese do it. Now all of a sudden it's okay. Homophobia is bad. Racism is bad. Transphobia is bad until Muslims do it. Now all of a sudden it's not that big of a deal. These people do not believe a single thing they preach on their platforms, and it is unbelievably important for their image to reflect that. Do not allow them to maintain an image of normalcy. This is how they spread their BS. Hasan Piker needs to be seen the exact same way as we see people like Crowder or Tim Pool, or even on occasion, actually, he's up there at this point with Fuentes. At this point, he's really up there with Fuentes. He needs to be looked at like these people. We need to start making sure that the image he's perceived through reflects the kind of stuff he says on stream. So I don't know what's going on over there with Twitch. I don't know what their problem is. I don't know what their issue is. I don't know why they're letting this kind of stuff happen on their platform. But they need to sort their problem. They need to sort their situation out. Yeah, ultimately, I don't know what's going on with Twitch. I don't know what their situation is. I don't know what exactly they hope to achieve by embracing this kind of culture. But it's very, very important for left-wing people to make abundantly clear the far right, which is basically the entire right wing right now, and the far left need to be called out equally because they're both insane. They're both insane, they both support enemies of the United States, and they both embrace regressivism if it's done by the right people. Notice how when Asmongold, he apologized, but let's bring this up. When Asmongold and them were talking about how, Palestinians are backwards, XYZ, when their own people engage in backwards culture, aka the MAGA movement, the MAGA, do you think they would ever sit there and excuse or ignore a genocide of MAGA voters because they're backwards? No. They don't believe in Western values like democracy and equality and that. They don't. They don't. They will happily violate them. But if brown people who are Muslim violate them, if they're being genocided, we don't care. Both of these ends of the spectrum are insane. And we have to call it. They're totally just insane. Somebody's got to say something. Somebody's got to do something. Like, somebody has to speak up. Please. This cannot be allowed. This status quo cannot be allowed to continue.